Hi, thanks for tuning in to the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast, brought to you by CR Gutters and A Advanced Septic Services. My name's Galan.
I'm Joe.
And we're coming at you from the BD Local Studios in Tacoma, Washington. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy the podcast. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast, brought to you by A Advanced Septic Services and CR Gutters. My name is Galan.
I'm Joe.
And we're coming at you from the BD Local Studios in Tacoma, Washington. So, Joe, for all our new listeners and viewers, can you tell everyone how our podcast came to be, please?
Sure. So it first started out as a Facebook group page. We wanted to bring business owners together to learn about each other's business, and then just a place for business owners to kind of share tips, ask questions, and people that kind of answer their questions because being they're all in it together. We thought, what a better way than to start a podcast and bring on different guest speakers to talk about any topic as it relates to business, and then their guest speakers, share tips that hopefully our listeners could, walk away with a little nugget of information and then, implement into their business.
Awesome. So cue image one, today's guests, we've had a lot of smart people, but we have our first academic joining us. So Joe, we're going to, we got to tune in our brains, get our notes ready and our homework, but let's welcome Dr. Scott Dell. So just a quick intro. We met in a networking group, but Scott is, he's an accountant by trade, an academic. He's written a book on LinkedIn, networking, a lot of professional resources with your career getting found. So he's a great guest that we could revisit why networking is so important, especially in this kind of new normal. So Dr. Scott, welcome.
Yeah, Thank you very much for having me, and don't be intimidated. I'm being intimidated by your background, so we're good.
We just don't want any little spot quizzes or tests at the end, so we'll try to keep
I gave
on
those
our
this
toes.
morning, don't worry.
Awesome. So cue image two, our last podcast episode, we had Andrea Pass on, Andrea Pass Public Relations.
PI of PR.
The PI of PR, which is a cool episode, a lot of takeaways. But Joe, what was one of your main takeaways?
Yeah, sure. So the first one, really the biggest one to me that stood out was reusing what others write about you. So it's okay to, in the world of social media, you don't want to reuse a lot of content, but in the world for PR, if someone else writes an article about you and your business, that it's okay to reshare that as often as possible.
Yeah, I can't stress that enough. When people write something about you, it is good content. And I know Dr. Scott on LinkedIn giving shout outs and everything, those kind of things are good to keep engaged with people and everything. So awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So cue image three. So Joe, our Valor Cares initiative that we want to share with our audience, it's coming along right now. 2021 is a big focus for us. Tell our listeners and viewers what that's all about.
Sure. So during COVID, as a business, we're a pretty successful business, and we wouldn't be successful without businesses, trusting just the trust in our company. So we just wanted a way to just give back to local businesses, both here locally and nationwide, really anywhere in the nation. But we give away website builds every single month. So we started out first doing one a month, and now we're doing up to 4 website builds every single month. It just can't be a selling website. And really that's it. I mean, there's a little caveat, you still got to pay your monthly hosting and support. But other than that, they can have up to 15 pages built for free. And this week alone, I think I just congratulated 2 more winners. So
awesome. Yeah. If we learned anything during the pandemic, is your website must represent who you are as a business, because if you don't, it's a missed opportunity. Now we come to our A Advanced Septic Pump You Up quote of the day, cue image 4. So there's 2 quotes. So Dr. Scott, on your LinkedIn page, since it was when we're filming this, yesterday was International Women's Day, a shout out to the women out there, from Maya Angelou. When you learn, teach. When you get, give. So why do you, of all the millions of quotes out there, why did you pick that one to be your LinkedIn banner?
It had a lot of meaning. And I'll quote Pink Floyd, "We don't need no education." The Wall. No. That's not the quote that I would put on my LinkedIn banner. What we really think about is I learn a lot when I teach. I've been a teacher. I taught photography in high school. I taught motorcycle safety for Harley Davidson. And every time I teach something, I learn it better. But the other side of it is, as you teach, you're giving back. and we're receptors. I mean, K-12, we go to college, we actually go into business. We have whatever profession or activity we're involved with, we're always learning. And the opportunity to give back and to teach is always is forever present.
Mm.
And those opportunities should be capitalized on, and we can share. We all have a lot to share. You're giving back, and I like to give back. And like I say, it's like a mirror, actually. You get, and it's like networking. You give before you get. And when you give, it comes back to you in spades.
So cue image 5. So I asked Dr. Scott for a motivational quote, as we do with all our guests. And this is what he gave me, which is very interesting. Joe and I are both in sales. If you can't give it away, you can't sell it. So why did that inspire you?
Well, I've only been a full-time academic for 14 years now. And I was adjunct for 20 years prior. I just got my doctorate a year ago, a little over a year ago. And I wasn't the oldest guy in my class. So, but not far from it.
Yes.
It's lifelong learning. Wharton MBA. I got a second master's in education technology and just got the doctorate in business.
Nice.
One of my businesses I had was a franchise operation called New Horizons Learning Center. And Mike Brinda, the founder, came up with this philosophy: if you can't give it away, you can't sell it. So what did that mean? Well, we sold computer training. We had the Smile and Dial crews. We had professional telemarketers that would get on the phone, call folks up, and they'd ask the question: if I could offer you a free class, could you or an associate take advantage of it? We were giving away classes, one day, 199 classes. The sales cycle does not start with that phone call.
Mm-hmm.
The sales cycle would start when the acceptance of, yes, I could take advantage of it, or a colleague can take advantage. We'll come out and take a look. Because the last thing we want to hear is, oh yeah, cool stuff, mail me some information. You know what? If you can't give away a free class and you're not going to come, why should I mail you anything? Because you're not going to pay for it if you won't take it for free.
Right.
And I love what you're doing with the giving away of websites and giving away a starter that says, hey, we're giving back, we're making a difference, and obviously someone who has a need and desire. So that if you can't give it away, you can't sell it. We're going to be talking about Vexter in a little bit while, a virtual expert directory. That is a starting point of giving it away and making a difference. Google gave it away. Even WordPerfect gave it away in the day. And Facebook gives it away. Instagram gives it away. So there's nothing wrong with giving it away.
No, not at all. So our next segment is our CR Gutters Did You Know? Cue image 6. So networking is important in 2021. Joe and I both believe in it, and we encourage a lot of our listeners and viewers to get it, right?
Yep.
To do it, because it does actively help you become more branded as an expert and everything. But some people may need like a little push. So cue image 7. So why is marketing important in 2021? So Dr. Scott, I gathered 3 different thoughts that I created graphics for, and that we'll kind of have a quick discussion on. So cue image 8. So why is marketing important in 2021? One reason is to connect and get noticed. So there are many talented professionals out there. It's crucial that you're visible amongst the crowd. Opportunities come your way. It's just a way to build relationships and conversations. Yes. Why is it important to connect and get noticed?
You can build the best mousetrap in the world, but if nobody knows about it, you're not going to make a living. You're going to go out there and teach or do something else. You really need to get the word out and communicate. And it's all about communications. What I used to call soft skills, I do a lot in the career space in the 18 to 28-year-old arena. And what I would used to call soft skills, I now call success skills. And big part of those success skills are communication. And what better way to practice that communication, A, to network, and B, to build awareness and to build knowledge and to gain exposure to others that you could help and others that can help you. So it's always a two-way street.
Awesome.
Plus for me, if you're not networking, then you're not really connecting with other businesses or just people in your community because you don't know who they know. So your next best referral could be someone that you're going to network with, whether it's in person or whether it's done online through Zoom. And through this whole 2020 thing, networking has just exploded because there's so many now opportunities for people to connect both locally and nationwide.
You know, I
I'm
would
going to
say
take a play
almost,
on a Chinese proverb. There's a proverb out there. The best time to plant a tree was 25 years ago,
Mhm.
and the second best time is now. Well, the best time to network was 5 years ago,
Mhm.
and the second best time is now.
right? Because really see the value, and we're starting to see it now, especially with our podcast. It's your secondary and tertiary connections from those initial connections that, oh, this would be someone as a good podcast guest, or maybe for us, it could be us referring someone in our network of, oh, you need career counseling or coaching or a way to get noticed. We had a podcast guest, and I'm going to refer you to their platform or whatever. So it all
I've had,
builds.
and frankly, this is my fifth podcast. I'm really enjoying the arena, but I met you networking, and we got together and we hit it off and compared notes and said, "Oh, this is kind of cool stuff that you do, and this is kind of cool stuff that I'm doing, and how can we help each other?"
Right. Perfect way to do that. So cue image 9. So why is networking important in 2021? Well, another reason is to learn from other professionals. So you gain more knowledge, open the door to new opportunities. When I first started Zoom networking, like millions of other Americans or millions of other people around the world, you're looking to a screen, you don't know like Zoom etiquette, what to say. You have elevator pitches, but you're not in an elevator, you're in your room talking to a screen. It's just a weird dynamic. But I've learned from other people like, oh, I like how they did it. And the more I did it, I crafted my own, like how it was for me. And then now it's a little bit more polished. So, I mean, you're a big proponent in your book. You lay it out, but learning from other professionals, can you talk about that, the power of LinkedIn? I mean, I'd like to get to 23,000, 24,000 connections one day. I'm just trying to get to my first 1,000, but talk to me about learning from other professionals.
Well, it's lifelong learning, and we're all in this together. And yeah, I've shared my thoughts on that. That gets me going because I learn a lot, but it's sharing and teaching a lot. It was interesting. We started. I'm in a tenure track position. I relocated to South Carolina from Wisconsin. I was 30 years in Wisconsin, and never thought I'd be a full-time academic. But now I relocated a year and a half ago to South Carolina, and we did a survey. We had our happy hour last month, accounting and finance club, but we attracted folks from all kinds of majors talking about data analytics for our happy hour, and we took a survey and said, okay, what do you want more of? What do you want to talk about? Career stuff, resume stuff, LinkedIn, interview stuff, networking. And to their credit, and these are math majors, computer science majors, accounting majors, finance majors, management majors, biology majors, art majors, education majors, all came back. And the number one answer was networking. And they see it. Now, I hate to stereotype anybody. I will tell you a lot of my millennial students are challenged, frankly, on a phone. They'll text the heck out of something. They'll Instagram like a mad dog.
Right.
But will they pick up the phone and call and talk to somebody? I've got 5 kids. Okay. 3 of them are in their 20s. Will they pick up the phone and talk? I've tried to train them as best I can, but they still prefer other modalities of communication. So, but networking is that tool, and just even the informational interview for networking. I talk about that on LinkedIn of reaching out to alumni from your high school or your college and saying, okay, I'm thinking about going to this field. You got 10 or 15 minutes and can talk. Now, no, I'm not looking for a job or an internship, although really I eventually will be, but you'll have some insights. But being able to hear somebody else's track on their success and their direction, hopefully will give you some insights. I'm not your typical CPA. All right. I am a CPA, but don't ask me a tax question because I'll call my accountant. I managed a nationwide block office in college and realized that wasn't my thing. But I've sold cars. I've sold vacuum cleaners. Okay. I've done a variety. I've had a bunch of businesses. I've done a variety of things, which helps me help other entrepreneurs and business folks. So being able to understand that, though, networking gets you that exposure, gets you that insight, and we're not alone.
Yeah, I just want to share a stat that confirms what you just said. So a LinkedIn study found that 80% of professionals consider networking important for their career success. So it just hammers exactly.
And frankly, over 80% of jobs are found through networking. You say, oh, I'm going to apply on that job site. That's great, except there are on average over 200 people applying. 4 will get interviews. Okay, 2%. I'll do the math now. And then 1 will get hired. That's a 0.5%. Right. Odds are stacked against you now, unless you can network and increase your odds. Part of that.
Awesome. So Q image 10, our last point of our CR Gutters Did You Know segment. Why is networking important in 2021? Personal growth. So build self-confidence. So the more people you meet, the more you step outside your comfort zone and build invaluable social skills and self-confidence. You can use these skills throughout your professional life. So
I actually love this one because, I mean, that's the reason why I started joining. One of the reasons why I joined a business networking group is to better myself, learn how to speak better. I still stutter over my words, but then just building up that self-confidence.
I will add to the, not only personal growth, but professional growth. And I'll link the two because they kind of ladder together. My last institution, I started a Toastmasters chapter. I was not a big Toastmaster prior to. I was aware of it, but I believed in it. About a third of the participants are students and 2/3 were community. So it became a networking tool, a communication tool, a leadership tool. And we had VP of an insurance company who was hiring interns from our Toastmaster group because he got to know them.
Right.
People got to expose to other areas of the community, for-profits and nonprofits, and were getting internships, jobs, and even joined boards as students. So things like Toastmasters are amazing environments to pick up these skills, even if you're not comfortable getting out there.
For people who don't know, can you explain what Toastmasters is?
Sure. Toastmasters is probably about 340,000 folks around the world that participate in an organization. And usually they meet either weekly or monthly and is somewhat structured, but it's an opportunity to practice public speaking.
Mhm.
And you might prepare a 5 or 6 minute speech, but you don't have to. But then everybody else can be in a 1 to 2 minute conversation. For instance, I did a fortune cookie exercise. We did the Chinese New Year. I said, take a fortune cookie. And we pulled the fortune cookie out. You read the fortune. You had to talk for 1 to 2 minutes on your fortune, extemporaneously speaking about any wide range of topics. And when I was starting this club, I was looking for fundraising. I was talking to a chief operating officer. Okay, Wisconsin cheese company, big company, number 2 guy at the cheese company. He said, I can always tell when someone's been through Toastmasters. I said, really? He said, yeah, they're more articulate. They can hold a conversation intelligently, and they put it on their resume. I said, wait a minute. That's cheating. He said, despite that it's on their resume, it does make a big difference. So that communication skills is key, key and comes through pretty strongly.
I like that you guys in Toastmasters keep track of certain words like
counters, okay, filler words. It's like a resume. White space is powerful.
Right.
Tone of voice is powerful. And then you can be excited or you can take a pause.
Yeah, I would definitely say that the podcast journey has helped us become, better communicators and then entrepreneurs and just expanding our connectedness, or, like not only for us selfishly, but to connect people what we've come across to find good fits for them. So it's almost, we'll give the giving focus more, right?
I mean, that's one purpose of the podcast is just to connect people and then hopefully grow their business.
Looks like it's working.
Yeah.
To your credit.
So now we come to the point where we're going to formally introduce Dr. Scott. So cue image 11. So we gave a quick intro, but more a formal intro. So Dr. Scott is the author of Your Complete Guide to Succeeding with LinkedIn. You can find that on Amazon, you could have that right there. Knows how to teach and inspire. He's an experienced LinkedIn instructor with over 24,000 first-degree connections. Very impressive. He's also a CPA, an educator, entrepreneur, professor, manager, learner, salesperson, technologist, Navy veteran. Thank you. And a business professional. So Dr. Scott, we formally welcome you to our Ask Valor Masterminds podcast, and thank you for being here.
Honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, Joe, first question.
Yep. So to get this started, what are some lessons learned as an early entrepreneur?
Lesson learned. You can't do it alone, no matter how heavily you think you can and may want to. That's not to say you need to follow your own heart, your own ideals, and your own directions, because there's 2 schools of people out there. Those that will encourage you, even though you've got bad ideas and no chance of success, but they want to be nice to you, especially family members. And then there are folks that are going to say, that's stupid. What kind of idea is a car? I want a faster horse. I mean, the whole idea out there, give me a buggy whip. No. There's all kinds of opportunities there that people create those opportunities. So it is on you. And the idea of being effective has to come from you, but we're not alone.
Awesome. So our next question is what is the best piece of advice you've been given?
2 ears, 1 mouth, perform appropriately or proportionally. The idea that we need to listen. And I've made this mistake. I mean, what's sales? Sales is not going out there and pitching. That's not sales. Sales is listening to the need and meeting the need. And if you can hear what's being said, now you can address that need and follow through and make a difference. But if you're out there talking, and so many people are not listening and they're just trying to think of what they're going to, the next response they're going to say, we need to listen. And listening skills are crucial to success.
Absolutely. So why is, being that it's marketing podcast, why is marketing a business so important?
I say it all the time. I had a conversation with my dean today. And as a dean, he found out he had a conversation. He was a pretty heavy duty academic, published well and did things. But the manager he was talking to said, "You're now in sales." He said, "Sales? I'm an academic. I'm a dean of a school of business. What do you mean I'm in sales?" But we're all in sales.
Yep.
When I teach in a financial accounting course, I'm selling the students why it's a heck of an idea to learn financial accounting, the language of business.
Right.
It's a tool that's going to be with you for the rest of your personal and professional life. And if you can understand the terminology and accounting, you can understand business. Or you're going to go on an interview. You're going to be selling yourself. That's not sales. That's an interview. No. That is sales. So we're all in sales. It's all how you package and sell it. So sales is crucial and a skill that needs to be honed. It's not something that is natural. Few people are born goo goo gaga, I can do sales. Although kids are the best salespeople, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
They want something, they'll ask you 28 times and you'll finally say yes.
That conviction is there. You know, being a dad, I have young kids that, yes, it's hard to say no.
It is hard. You know, the impulse buy. I mean, I frankly, I've been congratulated at the checkout counter when my kids have been nagging for something and they stop nagging. We have a song, the I want song that I start singing and I embarrass the heck out of them. But so they will stop eventually. But I've gotten kudos of, you're not giving into that, are you? No.
Awesome. So cue image 12. So now we're going to get to some tips Dr. Scott could share with us. Networking in life. Give before you get. So you sent something to me when I asked kind of like the topic that you wanted to share with our audience and everything. But you sent the Stephen Covey quote, "Begin with the end in mind." So I created a graphic for that. Cool. Image 13, and I actually brought the book. So my dad's book that he got, 48-year Boeing employee. And then 15 years later, I bought the book for myself, you know, and then he gave me his copy. But begin with the end in mind, or the networking life, give before you get. What are some thoughts that you could share with our audience on how it all ties together?
It's all about the why. And frankly, after I published my LinkedIn book, and by the way, with a free account, I had my first 16,000 connections. So you can do a lot with a free account. They don't have to buy the account. I'm paid now because there are some other benefits. But I revised my own profile for every job experience and for every educational experience. It starts out with the why in capital letters. Now you're told to document, you're told to quantify, you're told all kinds of things in your resume and your profile to do. Mm-hmm. I took a different slant and I said, okay, let's start with the why. Why did I go into work for a big 8 CPA firm, which is now the big 4? Okay, I'm an old guy, I get away with that. Why did I go for a doctorate 4 years ago? Start off on the track. Why, whatever, and I have the why, followed by accomplishments and things I've done. So I'm the second habit, Steve Covey, Stephen Covey, begin with the end in mind. That's the why. And I really believe you have to know your why. If you don't know your why, there's no path to get to where you're going. But if you have something in mind, you've got kids, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm setting an example for my kids. I'm setting a standard, a guide, a direction, and being an example. Or for my students, or for my family, or for my community. I'm in the Leadership Florence program we just met on 2 days ago. So those are the programs that we participate in. And I believe in making a difference. That's my why. And how do I make a difference? Well, I help others. And eventually, will they help me? Some will just pay it forward. I help them and they help others. And that's okay too. So my why is trying to make a difference. That's why, again, I was an educator. I went to full-time education after 3 no's. I was invited to come on halftime. I had the MBA, I had the CPA, and I've been adjuncting for 20 years. And the school was going through accreditation. Their accounting program director had left and said, can you come on board halftime? I said, yeah. I interviewed. Students said, we want more rigor in our accounting program. And I said, okay, where do I sign? This is cool. They want more rigor. Well, I'll give them rigor. They didn't ask again, by the way. That was just once. That was during the interview. But then about 6 months later, they said, so Scott, can you come on board full time? I said, no, I just sold the business. I got a whole bunch of things on my plate. They go, no, Scott, we really like you to board full time. I said, no, it's an hour and a half commute. And I've got, like I said, I'm pretty busy with some things. I go, no, Scott, if you come on board full time, we'd really appreciate the opportunity. And it's in sales. 3 no's equals a yes or something like that. So I finally said, sure. I didn't even negotiate salary. I said, okay, I'll figure I'd do it for a year or 2 and help transition somebody else in. And 13 years later, I was still accounting program director for a small private Catholic school in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Really liked it. That's, again, pursued the doctorate and pursued some other things. But I really enjoy the academic environment and the entrepreneurial environment. Started 2 businesses last year during COVID. So keeping the entrepreneurial fingers going.
So in the LinkedIn book you have, is part of that where people could get walked through by revising their profile and then writing their why? I mean, you listed out if people want to grab a copy of your book, right?
Yeah, it's an 85-step guide to succeeding with LinkedIn. And by the way, that came out as a direct byproduct of a course we were offering on answering the question, tell me about yourself. That was that we developed actually out of Washington State. The author is the founder of Civil Learning Centers. So that was one of the programs we developed in 2020. And I was doing a checklist. I said, okay, 10 things for your profile in LinkedIn. I said, no, wait a minute. 20 things to a first-class profile on LinkedIn. I said, hold on. 30 things to a top 5% profile on LinkedIn. And I said, this is not a checklist. This is a book. So I wrote the book. That's how the book evolved. And now it's an 85-step guide. When I get to 100, I'm coming out with a second edition. I'm up to about 96 right now.
So I want to put you on the spot right now and say, for our listeners and viewers out there who are maybe unfamiliar with LinkedIn, they have a profile, they haven't done anything to it. They have their maybe like 10, 20 connections. What are 2 things those people could do right now to immediately help them? 2 free tips.
Okay, 2 free tips.
Before they unlock the other 80 tips or 90 tips in a year.
Okay, well, if you're familiar, you're probably knowing that backdrop banner behind you, that quote that I have up there. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I put a quote back there because it's about who I am and what I am. It's an image kind of thing. It's my brand. So put your brand behind you. You've got real estate on the screen because people will look at your LinkedIn profile. People will read it. And you want to have things that, that's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. I like that Dr. Scott guy. He's committed to education and others and making a difference. Okay, I could have put what's your pain and here's my solution and here's my website. Okay, that's not me, although I'll market my website later. That's not the goal of my LinkedIn profile. It's awareness and branding. Mm-hmm. It's exposure. I'll give you 2 other free tips. So, I always give more than
bonus time. Here we go. Yes.
You have limited real estate. Your first 2 lines in about is going to be read. The rest of it will be nice if they click on more. But put something that's easily readable in the front side of that, as well as you don't want just a job title. CEO. That's nice. You're a CEO. Congratulations. What the heck do you do? Okay. Mine says LinkedIn evangelist. And then I have the language of business. I talk about translating accounting. Okay. There are things if you go to my profile, Scott Dell, you'll see hopefully some interesting things and get some ideas. The last tip is be complete. Put it all in there. Don't put one job, one title. Okay. And you know what? I belong to one group. You can belong up to 99 groups, 100 groups. Take advantage of that. Participate, be active, and give references, because the written references, people can see ones you've written as well as ones that have been given to you.
Awesome.
And there's nothing wrong with drafting one, say, hey, could you give me a reference, please? Here's an idea. And they'll pop a reference. That's nice. But if you give other people references, people will see that you're giving and you're sharing and you're committed to that.
And that's that giving part then of that, where now you're more aware to them because you've given these kind of endorsements and everything.
And it's good that you said that, because one of our past guests, Karen Rosenswag, she's a social media coach. That's one thing that she says, as well as to give the references, ask for references. It's good to see that you guys both align with saying the same
consistency
thing. Yeah.
So do it.
Do it, yeah. And I did it, and it made a big difference. And what you put in that title, like you said, you don't just want to put like owner. You want to put some things that people are going to be searching for on LinkedIn.
Keywords is big on resumes and LinkedIn and the applicant tracking systems, ATSs. Yeah.
So our last minutes wrapping up, we wanted to talk about Vextier, and you had an offer and everything. So as we wrap up our podcast, thanks for being on again. Can you tell us a little bit about that and your offer?
If you go to Vextir.com, VEXDIR.com, you'll see it says LinkedIn plus Google equals Vextir. And we're serious about that. It is, I will say, a LinkedIn on steroids. It's a place for posting your business, your interests. Are you female-owned, veteran-owned, minority-owned? There's a place. Are you vegetarian or don't eat pork and shellfish? There's a place.
Right.
Are you interested in being a podcast guest? Yes or no? Are you interested in joint venturing? Yes or no? This is for virtual experts, people that want to gain exposure. And there's a free level membership listing. There's a mid-level. There's a calendar on there. You can put dates of webinars, seminars, or podcast activities or courses you teach. There's a rating, 5-star rating, 4-star rating. Think Amazon. So you can be rated, you can respond, you can get rid of ones you don't want. There's power in the Vextir.com arena. And the basic membership is, pretty much a listing, not a lot of horsepower. There's a mid-level, like $10 a month, and there's a high level, $25 a month. The mid-level is free to your listeners.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And we'll post details.
If you want to go to Vextir.com and you go to that mid-range, instead of paying $120 for a year, you pay $0. And the code is EAP free. Okay. Expert Advisor Pro, EAP level free. EAP free, all uppercase, all capitals. Okay. And by the way, there's also an affiliate side of this. Everybody who joins and refers somebody, half the revenue generated goes in your pocket and the other half comes to the house. It's not multi-level, it's a single level affiliate. So it's kind of a different formula. We're not a binary. We're not going to say get 15 people signed up and get a free bonus. No. Otherwise, we'd be charging $40 a month instead of 10. But anything that happens, if you refer 10 people, $5 a piece in your pocket, $5 to the house, and it's an affiliate relationship. But it also gets your name out there. It's another exposure. It's an SEO optimized platform. It's a third-party platform that we customize for Vextir. And even if you have a website, great. If you don't have a website, you get your own URL and can direct people to it. You can throw up videos. You can put up pictures. You can put up ebooks. You can put up coupons and other marketing materials. So it's a pretty powerful environment. And we're doing some things right now. If you might have heard something called Clubhouse. We're doing some things that are going to be directly Clubhouse related as well. So We're excited to bring the offering. We just introduced it March 1st. So this is fresh off the press. This is ground floor. It's powerful stuff, and I'd welcome participation, anybody and everybody.
Well, thank you for your generous offer.
thank you.
I know one of the things I noticed says favorite alcoholic beverage. You like bourbon. I'm a bourbon guy too. Side note,
Amen.
non sequitur. Well, that's another podcast episode. But when you
When we get together, we'll share.
when you get to your second edition, we'd love to have you back on and share maybe a 2.0 revisiting networking, what it looks like maybe next year or 6 months from now. But thank you again for jumping on. So
I'd enjoy that. And thank you for having me. You guys do a great job. I looked at some of your other podcasts and you get some pretty cool guests and pretty good insights. So thank you for having me join your esteemed crew.
awesome.
It was a good time.
So lastly, Q Image 3 again, our Valor Cares, we're all about giving, this year, moving forward, value and everything.
Mm-hmm.
One last plug for our Valor Cares initiative, Joe, please.
Sure. So if you're a business owner, whether you have a website or don't have a website, whether you've been in business for 1 year or for 50 years, it really doesn't make a difference. You can go to valormarketingllc.com/Valor Cares, and you can submit your information, and a committee of people chooses up to 4 winners every single month, and they get a free website built.
And thank you for offering that. That's, if you can't give it away, you can't sell it.
Right.
That's right.
And then I'm also going to tag our, Galan didn't know this, but our Google workshop. We have another free Google workshop coming up. It's on March 22nd. It's at from 1 to 2 o'clock Pacific time. And we're going to be teaching, not we, but Carissa St. Laurent, one of Google's national trainers, will be teaching on learn the basics of Google Ads. So it's a brand new workshop that Google is offering, and we're one of the first Grow with Google partners to be offering it.
Yeah, so the cool thing with that is, guys, if you ever want to ask Google a question, it's like your time to do that. You get direct access to someone with Google. So, again, thank you, Dr. Scott. On behalf of our sponsors, A Advanced Septic Services and CR Gutters, my name's Galan.
I'm Joe.
Coming at you from the sunny studios in Tacoma, Washington of BD Local. Thanks for tuning in to this Ask Valor Masterminds podcast. See you again soon.
Have a good day.